Everyone, if you are just tuning in, we are the 8th annual VirtualCon 2024. We've been doing this, yes, for 8 years, 8 long and short years at the exact same time. We are streaming in Utherverse Classic, Utherverse Day on Beta, so 2 metaverses at the same time. We're in YouTube, we're in Twitch, we're everywhere. We are all over the place, and I've got all my screens around me. So as soon as I finish my little intro, I'm going to visually disappear because I'm like this the whole time and no one needs to see that. And I'm going to give Peter the center stage here. But before I do that, let me introduce this man who I am so excited and just utterly pleased that you're going to be closing day one for us today, which I can't believe day one is already over. This is crazy. Peter Gantner is the founder and creative entrepreneur leading Nexus Ecosystem, which you guys have heard. If you've been with us all day, you have heard Nexus been mentioned a couple times today. So now we're going to find out exactly what this Nexus Ecosystem is, as well as key advisor to the one and only Brian Shuster, who I'm sure all of you guys know who that is, and the Utherverse team. His life is guided by 2 mantras. And I love this, Peter. I love this. 1, leave the world better than you found it. And 2, community is commerce. And we got to talk about that a little bit more later. But upon discovering blockchain, cryptocurrency, Web3, and the metaverse, you recognize their potential to fulfill both of those life goals. And your passion for people and business has equipped you with skills essential to the Web3 movement. Did I get that right?
You got it perfect.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right. So I'm going to disappear visually, let you have center stage, but I'm still here and we're going to have a conversation.
Excellent. Well, today, guys, I'm going to use a lot of visual sites that we're going to go and look at some articles. We're really going to look at the core of this. Now, all of you people in the classic system have known, some of you maybe have been in here for 15, 16, 18 years, 10 years. You guys understood the power of the metaverse while the rest of the world was just like asleep, right? We were like, we don't understand what the, and of course, Brian's vision of what the 3rd iteration of the web would be it has been spot on, right? It was just very early in the process. Web 2 was just developing and heading in that direction. Well, you know, let me share my screen here and we're going to kind of go through a journey of this, because what I hope I can do for people today is, let me close this. I hope I can get people to understand that, where'd all my articles? Okay, there they are. That we're at the right time, no matter where you got involved. Maybe it was 2022 when, you know, Facebook changed their name to Meta. You got exposed to it and said, wow, this is pretty cool. Mine was a little before that with the web. And actually my first experiences with metaverses, guys, was Decentraland. And I got to tell you, I was not impressed. I went to Decentraland and then I went to Sandbox because their token prices were starting to take off. They were selling land. I was reading articles where people were paying $200,000, $500,000, $1 million for a block of land in these metaverses. And I went in there and I looked at what they offered, cartoon looking characters. And by the way, I believe there is a place in Metaverse for cartoon characters for all different types, dragons and all these incredible different things that people will be able to go be in a virtual world. However, I believe what has been missing from it is being able to legitimately do serious business, education, a lot of the things that it really needed to have photorealistic avatars in order to move in the right direction and make this happen and build out the future of the web, right? Web 3. Now, we know, before we get into Web 3, what I want to do is go on a little bit of journey of Web 2, because I believe right now, sitting in front of every person that's watching this, whether now you can just say, hey, I just want to keep using Metaverse. I'm in here. I have a fun time. I go dance. I, meet people. I'm only here to use it on that level. But what I want to talk to are the people that are like, look, and I'm one of the people, I miss the internet as big as I would have liked to. As a matter of fact, I was just reading an article. Guess what? Today, Mark Zuckerberg just joined an exclusive club. There's only 3 people in that club. that are people that have a net worth of over $200 billion. Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, and Amazon. One started, Elon Musk, with PayPal and the internet. Zuckerberg, all his wealth is the internet, and Amazon is the internet. $211 billion. Guys, remember
That's
the
a lot.
Forbes?
That's a
I'm telling you,
lot.
the Forbes 400 or 500 list used to be you. If you had $1 billion, you were on that list. Today, there are over 2,700 billionaires in the world. Over 2,700 billionaires. These are people that saw the vision. So let's do this real quick. I've got to make sure. Let's see. Okay, here it is. Nope, not that one. Here we go. .com bubble. All right. Woo! 2000, March 2000. The internet had boomed and things were going great and everything else. And then there was a .com bubble and it popped. And you can see here by October 2022, right, from its peak by 2022, giving up all the gains during the bubble, only to fall 78%. Guys, by 2002, a 2-year window. I want you guys to think about that. A 2-year window. It went from the pop all the way down to the bottom. When this happened, at the very top, Jeff Bezos's highest wealth during the bubble was $10 billion. It was an average of about $6 billion. I want to show you, if you have a vision and you're able to see beyond the noise, beyond the, it's a fad, beyond that side of it, what can happen if you put yourself in the right place. 211.3 billion. And I believe his wife got about 90 billion of that. Today, without his divorce, over $300 billion in wealth that would have been created from something that, let's go back here, a bubble popped. And for 2 years, things were heading in the wrong direction. Let's look at this article. Internet may be just a passing fad as millions give up on it. Imagine being the person who wrote this article. How wrong. This could be the most wrong statement that has ever been said in the history of time. And you know what? They were looking at the hype. They were looking at the fact that stocks were going in a direction. At no point did people ever stop getting on the internet. A matter of fact, if you look at the trend, even with the pop, more and more people were joining. More and more people were getting functionality and usability. And why was this? The hype of what was to come heated up the market beyond where the market was actually at. And so that created the bubble. The value was there, but we didn't have high speed everywhere yet. We didn't have the technology. Social media was just being invented. The idea and the concept of the creator internet, right, where people were able to create content instead of content just viewing and being consuming the content. They were able to become the creators. The YouTubes, Facebook, all of these other mediums were just getting going. And why am I pointing this out, guys? Because it is this simple. This is the place I believe we are right now with the metaverse. We're right there. We just went through, and we're going to go here next. We're going to look at, well, let's do this. Let me see. Oh, that's the wrong one. Here we go. That's not what I'm looking for here. Let me go here. Oh, right here. All right. No, not that one. Here. In 2000, and so Decentraland, Sandbox, I talked about him, wasn't impressed until I met Brian, and Brian started to show me what he was doing with Utherverse. I went, this is it. This is going to be absolutely gigantic. I understand it. Interoperability, not a metaverse, but building thousands, millions of metaverses. Interoperability, when he began to explain to me that he looked at the structure of the internet and said, wait a minute, metaverse needs to be very much similar, but yet different. And putting that all together gave me the vision to understand this. But here's what happened. In 2020, Decentraland, Sandbox started building some momentum. And it probably would have continued to build at a pretty decent pace for a little while, except for October 28th, 2021, one of the biggest companies in the world, Facebook, decided to change their name to Meta. And he brought the spotlight on to the metaverse. But guess what? He did it before it was ready. This was 2000, 1999. The internet had promise. They overheated. It got way over, people diving into it that were not doing research. They were just getting in and as fast as they could. And that overheated the market and it created the bubble. The same exact thing happened here. Where are we at right now? We are 2 years from this moment, from when it started to overheat to where it popped the bubble. The attention went off of it. The investment started going into AI. We're going to talk about that metaverse is the core of Web3. We're going to get into that, and you're going to see how the distraction of AI is actually going to be the next piece of the metaverse. This is all going to come together in order to create the most massive opportunity in the history of mankind for the individual, for us, for you, me. This is just beginning. So when the internet got going, YouTube, let's say, started, there wasn't a lot of competition for creators. There were thousands of people at first creating content. Some of those people became huge, right? They're today, Mr. Beast, I believe, is valued at over $1 billion. If you guys have ever gone out and watched the first videos that I encourage you, go look up the oldest videos that Mr. Beast did. He was terrible. He was horrible at it, right? But over time, and because of his timing of when he began to build his channel, because there wasn't as much competition, he was able to improve his skills and he was able to rise. And now the bigger and bigger and bigger that YouTube gets, the wealthier and wealthier he becomes. At this moment, because of Utherverse.io, the next version of the software, I believe that the next place, the next TikTok, the next YouTube, the next Facebook, the next place where influencers have the opportunity to come in and say, here's who I am, here's what I believe in, here's what I'm about, here's my interest and my excitement and everything else, and to draw in audiences. There's no one right now that's a giant influencer in the metaverse because it's just beginning, right? It's just starting. I believe now is the time. If you're saying, hey, if you've always thought, man, I wish I would have started earlier with TikTok, or I would have started earlier with YouTube, this is the time for you to begin to learn, engage, and begin to get your craft in place, the tools, the developments that are being done. You just listen to the developers and what they're working on and what they're pushing forward. There will be a time, and here's where I believe. Let's say Mr. Beast right now, he's worth $1 billion, and he has an audience of, I don't know, a few 100 million people. I believe in the metaverse, somebody will create that same wealth with a much smaller audience. And why is that? See, I like to look at the facts. I like to look at the information. I like to analyze this and say, what could happen? And the reason why is the metaverse is an immersion with it, meaning I can interact not by watching a video of my favorite influencer, but by going to experiences, my avatar with their avatar, going in, creating digital experiences together. That is the next step. I am willing to, as a fan, pay more money, create more value for the influencer if I'm able to be part of those experiences. Go on a shopping trip with my favorite influencers making $1 million a month. I can't go spend $200,000 in a day at jewelry, but could he go into the metaverse shopping mall that's going to be built, that's going to have all the jewelry stores in it, and go through, and I could be right there with them while they spend $200,000-$300,000 picking out jewelry, doing different things, going on dates, doing whatever it is that they do. Imagine being able to get immersive and be a part of that. So what I want to do now is we want to go here and we want to talk about how big is the potential of the metaverse. And then we're going to talk about why I believe it is the core and the center of Web3. Okay. So here we go. This is Citibank, fairly credible company here. They did a report back when the hype, the spotlight was on it. and they went and did their analysis, and their belief system is that the metaverse will create $8 to $13 trillion by 2030. Now the spotlight came off, so maybe now it's 2032 or 2033. I believe that they might be a little off here in the lower direction than what it would be. But here's the key. The number of users, 5 billion users. Now, all of those will not be direct because it'll be the indirect side of using the metaverse, and there'll be direct usage of it. Guys, that is huge, and that is the opportunity. Now, imagine the influencers, imagine the business people that start developing now, that start building now, that get registered web addresses in the metaverse that become the valuable web addresses, right? That build the places with traffic. You know, we talk a lot about this with our new NFTs that we launched that are with MetaForge. That location is everything, right? A billboard out in the middle of the country, maybe a few $1,000s a month on a highway. In Times Square, it's $10,000 for an hour, right? Because of the traffic that's there. Even though the metaverse is expandable beyond our imaginations, right? There will still be areas, places where traffic is, and those places will become extremely valuable in ways that we can't even imagine. And we saw a little glimpse of it back in 2021 when real estate and things like Decentraland and Sandbox were selling for astronomical amounts of money. Imagine becoming a digital landlord where you own digital space, where there's traffic, or you're part of a company that's developing products and services and selling them into these areas with high traffic where the people are. Imagine being part of that. And imagine where the base commerce vehicle, a token, could go in that situation. And that for Utherverse on Saturday will be the Uthex token that will allow for commerce to take place within inside this metaverse, for people to tip, for people to, do things with their favorite influencers, for people to go shopping and buy digital goods. But not only digital goods, imagine getting a digital clothing that you love, and then in the mail receiving the physical clothing of it. And even if you don't want your avatar to look quite like you, imagine the technology and the software being able to know and show you what that outfit would look like on you before you buy it. It would save probably a lot of returns. See, I think the reason why I am so excited about the metaverse is just like the internet. It wasn't about just, it was called the internet, so it became popular. The reason why the internet became as popular as it did is the technology made things better, more convenient, and gave a voice to people, right? It was the value it created in my life, your life, that drove us to start using it all the time, right? We're in the metaverse right now, on the internet. We're broadcasting this through Zoom, all of this stuff, right? It's on YouTube. It's all over the place. All of these were because it became convenient. I didn't have to sit in front of my television and then give me what I could watch. I could go online and I could pick the person I wanted to watch at whatever time I wanted to. It was the value. I believe that exact same thing is happening with the metaverse. There are things online right now that are done security-wise, convenience-wise, value of entertainment, all of that. And a lot of you guys already know this. You've been in here for 15, 16, 17, 18, 20 years, whatever it's been, or 18, 19 years. You've been here a long time. You already understood that the value is there. But the rest of the world is going to begin to understand that. And when they do, they're going to gravitate towards it. Now, the reason why I love what Utherverse is doing is because instead of building a metaverse, that's Decentraland, that's Sandbox, and then having everybody come to that one metaverse, and then if I want to be part of Sandbox and Decentraland and another one, I need, and I have it because I've been looking at them, over 9 icons on my desktop, and each time I want to go to it, I've got to go interoperability, the ability for me to go from here to the next one, to the next one with one piece of software. Imagine if the internet, on every website you wanted to go to, you had to download a new piece of software. It wouldn't work. And so the vision, so if you're saying, hey, I don't want to miss, I missed web 1, missed web 2, maybe you made a little money on an investment, or maybe you have an Amazon store and you're selling some stuff, so you're making some money, but I really want this to change my life. I want it to be to really make a difference. Then the vision of Brian is exactly what I believe is needed in order for that to take place, for you to become and create the wealth that you want to. And right now, I believe I showed it to you. The timing is perfect. Today forward is the day to engage. After this is over with, within a little short period of time, the next version of Utherverse.io, the next patch will be available for you to go in and do it. It's going to expand capabilities. Next month, expand more capabilities. November, more capabilities. Now is the time to get engaged. How do you do that? Start looking at building businesses. Spend time in Utherverse.io. Get some UTHX token and set your claim to be able to then build out your business. Start looking for opportunities to be an influencer, getting to meet people, become an expert in Utherverse platform, to when it begins to expand to other sovereigns, you can then seize the opportunities in those from where it's at. So now let's talk about Web3. So here's a Harvard thing, and it goes through and it starts to explain what Web3 is, because now we're going to tie this together. Metaverse is the core of Web3. What is Web3? Here it explains that Web3 is decentralization, and it's a form of, no censorship. It really does a great job. If you ever want to pull this article up here, or what they've written of what the technology side of Web3 is and how it functions. And I wish I knew how to use a highlighter. I would have highlighted some of the stuff in here that I could have read off to you. But essentially, it talks about the main thing of Web3 is cryptocurrency, blockchain, DeFi, right? All the core things. And it essentially allows you to build a decentralized society, a decentralized mechanisms that are in place, that are online. So if you go through and you start to read through this, you know that Web3 will not replace Web 2, but it will become the dominant, right? It's not an either or sub game, right? It's not like one has to lose for the other one to win, right? Web 2 will still be there, but Web 3 is going to become, and I'm not saying this is my opinion, Web 3 is going to become the dominant form of the web. Congratulations to the people who saw this 12, 15 years ago. What visionaries you guys are, because you got in and you engaged and started to be part of Web3 long before I even heard the words Web3, right? As a matter of fact, you were in Web3 and I didn't know the term Web2, right? Until we started to get in there. So some of you guys on here are more of a visionary than I am, right? On this side. But this is a great Harvard business review of what Web3 is. But it doesn't mention anything in this article about the metaverse. Because when I started to look at this, and I first looked at it, I went and looked up what Web3 was, and DeFi, NFTs, blockchain, cryptocurrencies, SoFi, right? They have it all listed out, storage, all this other stuff. But they really didn't even have metaverse on it. And I read a couple of people who were supposed to be experts in it, and they said it was separate. Well, guess what? They are wrong. See, here is the true definition. Yes, Web3 and immersive web are related and are often used interchangeably to describe the next generation of the internet that will offer more immersive experiences. See, if I sit down and look at it and I say, okay, we're moving towards a digital society. Okay, we're moving towards a thing where we spend more and more time in digital environments. Good or bad, that's up to us to determine how we do that, the tools we build, how we as a society come together and begin to do it. I was listening to Lightning Works and him talking about DAOs and being able to, make decisions and things like that to protect, right? To make sure that people that don't want to see certain types of content can't see them, but yet still giving people the freedom of speech. These are the principles that allow for Metaverse and for this technology to really take off. But here's the key. Web3 is an immersive web. I'm going to ask a question here. Don't need to answer it, but just think about it yourself. How is it possible to create an immersive web without the metaverse? It's not. The ultimate form of an immersive web is metaverse. So if Web3 is immersive, then the core of Web3 must be the metaverse. And I want you to think about this. Web3, DeFi, SoFi, blockchain, all of this is technology, right? Digital technology. Okay, let me ask you this question. Where would digital items, digital collectibles, NFTs, where is the most efficient and effective place for them to exist? The metaverse. It literally is the place where they can shine the most, from DeFi to all of it. DAOs will function better in a metaverse than they will in a non-metaverse Web 2 process. Why? Because people can participate more. It's more immersive. And DAOs are about engagement. It's about getting involved. It's not being a line of text on it, but it's me meeting you. You're in the DAO, I'm in the DAO, through virtual way of us meeting and getting to know each other and building those relationships. It's about the community. In the very beginning, Anna read, one of my things is community is commerce. It's a term that I created 8-9 years ago to say that because of the technology that was coming, didn't know much about AI at the time, knew only about crypto, but not the blockchain and Web3 and this whole thing. But I understood that as we got more knowledge, as we got more connected together, that we would begin to exercise our right, that our dollars drive all the success. Every brand that's ever been built, every successful company that's been built is because of you and I and all of the customers, the consumers that participated in that function. And that will be the participatory economy. So we got community as commerce. And then what's coming with that is the participatory economy. That is when you get paid to participate. That is Web3. That is coming into Utherverse. And there's a whole fund. There's 450 million tokens. 15% of every UTHEX tokens will be used, that's been put aside right now, to reward you, me, for going in and engaging, for doing business, for doing entertainment, for all that stuff in the metaverse. And guess what? Every dollar that comes into Utherverse, a portion that's going back in to replenish that fund. It's participate, get compensated, build wealth, participate. See, on the internet, a lot of people got wealthy, but a lot more people only it made their lives better because of more convenient, better services, that type of stuff. The vast majority benefited from just using it as customers. Think about taking that and saying, wait a minute, the customer's using it. Remember, I just said that we help build every company that's out there, or dollars or things. Why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't you and I? Why shouldn't we benefit financially if we're one of the most important parts of any company brand is the customer base? That's what Web3 allows us to do. And remember, Metaverse is the core of Web3. Okay, so how do we know that over the next 3, 5, 6, 10 years, there's going to be tons of people that are going to want to work. They're going to want to vacation. They're going to want to do a lot of stuff in the metaverse. Because currently right now, Roblox, a cartoony game version, and I'm going to show you an IKEA store in there, 207 million monthly active users. Most of these are young people. Well, let me say this. If I'm spending my time playing in Roblox right now, and then my boss says, hey, we have a working environment in our own sovereign or in Utherverse, and I want you to work there. I'm like, yes, all right. Woo, I'm all about that. They already love when it comes to shopping in there and entertainment, when you can shop successfully. I want to show you what in Roadblocks, what a store looks like. Imagine you getting ready to buy a piece of furniture for your home. You're going to put it in your living room, and you walk in this store and you see this. Do you think that is a representation of what their furniture actually looks like? No. And this is where I believe the traction in Metaverse has not happened the way that people wanted it to happen. Because I may want to be a cartoon character when I go out and party or do something or play a game. But when I'm getting ready to go buy furniture in the real world and I want to do it online, I want to do it where I see what it looks like. When I can use technology, maybe I have a digital twin of my living room and I can see what it looks like. I can see if it goes there. And then I can purchase the item. And with Web3, and I'm not going to say that IKEA is going to do this, but think about designers and developers that build digital items first. You buy the digital item. Over time, they get thousands of people that have them in their homes in the digital space. And then they say, by the way, I'm getting ready to do a limited run of my furniture, and you can purchase it directly from me. And then they make the physical one, and then you have the physical one shipped to you. And all of a sudden, they create an NFT or some type of digital reward program. Maybe it's Uthex token. So you purchase something and you get a reward in a digital sense back to you, where by buying those items, you can begin to build wealth. I want to go a little bit step further here. Imagine you're getting ready to do Christmas shopping in 2025. And the metaverse has been, other verses continue to grow. We start adding stores. We build a shopping mall. Maybe it's 2026, whatever that time frame is. And you're getting ready to go shopping for all, you're going to spend $2,000-$3,000 on Christmas presents, right? Holiday gifts, whatever holiday you celebrate at that time. And you go do that in a metaverse where you're getting, it's Web3 based. So you're getting rewards, digital rewards for doing that. And so you get a few $100s in digital rewards. And over the next 3 to 5 years after that, continue to advance. And now there's billions of people using it. And those digital rewards, because they're based on the success of the brand, the project, whatever it is, those have gone up 10, 20, 30, 40, 50x in value. And this is not financial advice, guys. I just want you to know that this is just a concept, an idea that I see this happening. And all of a sudden, that 300 in rewards you got in 2026, in 2030 is worth $3, $4, $5, $10, $15,000. These are the things that I believe will come to play. What's going on right now in the metaverse? Is it even quit our air? So we, the news media would love for you to think, and you go read things about Meta. They're abandoning, the metaverse. Not true. They're still working on the Oculus glasses. You've got Apple in the background. Companies are preparing for this to happen. And so they want to downplay it so we don't pay attention to it. So they can put them, this is my own belief system. They want us to take our eyes off of it because they can then prepare and then they can dominate it in that space. But that's not going to work, because one of the biggest things is in life is it's the experiences that you use. And I'm going to go to a very one that most of us have never done, because very few people have done it. Climbing Mount Everest. Okay. Nobody climbs Mount Everest alone. They hire what are called Sherpas. And those Sherpas, you go practice and you train and you hire people that have made it to the top of that mountain several times, and they've done it, and they're traveling with other people that have made it. Why? Because if you don't, you're going to make mistakes. But by going with somebody, Utherverse Brian Shuster, the team, has more experience in this space than everyone else out there. So I've got to believe they're my Sherpa, right? That's why I connected with Brian. That's why we connected with Utherverse, because that's our Sherpa to the top of the mountain of the leader, I believe, in the metaverse. The company that will be the dominant, not the only one, because there's always second place and third place, and there'll be other people, but the dominant one. And that's what I wanted to find. Once I realized, looked at Decentraland, looked at Sandbox, not impressed. Oh, wait a minute, there's something impressive out here. Looked into it further, said, oh, wait a minute, look at what's happening here. This is going to be gigantic. Let me connect and be a part of the one that understands, that looked at the web the same way I want you to look at what happened with the web. Bubble, popped, opportunity zone, and then take off, right? I want to look at the person who has that experience, the team that has that experience, that understands it, that had the vision a while ago and has spent a fortune financially, time-wise, building out what it is. So Quetar Air, right? Metaverse with Qverse. How did we find this? We wanted the name Qverse for what we were doing. And it's like, oh, they're already there. And they literally have this up and running, guys. You can click on it here and it pulls up, and they have a little digital person that's an assistant that's tying in AI. I don't know if that's going to pop up because maybe I was on the link too long. It's there. Let me see if I can find the link in the article and reopen this back up here again. I believe that's where I went to in it. Let me see if I can find it here. Is this making sense to everybody? And by the way, when I'm going to be done here in a few minutes and we'll open it up for some questions, but more than questions, what I'd really like to get is your vision of where you see this, especially the people that have been in here. You've been in here 12, 14, 15 years. What is it that kept you coming back, and what did you see? And do you see that expanding and growing and heading in the direction? Do you agree with me, or do you have a different take on this? Look around here. We're going to click here. This is our digital assistant, guys. She will come up here and she will answer your questions. Not fully cartoony, but a little, not the quality that we have in Utherverse.io, moving things forward. But you can see that they've invested in this. They took out trademarks and all of this stuff. And this is not the only company. American Airlines, all kinds of companies are right now under the radar building stuff and doing stuff in the metaverse because they know that it's going to be dominant. The attention has now gone on to AI because that's what it does. But here's the good thing. The attention has gone to AI. But guess what? AI is the icing on the cake with metaverse. Moving forward, you've got it. AI is going to be that thing that's going to help bring to life and really enhance the experience we will have in metaverse. And then, of course, you heard earlier from Ripples, which we're working with them, and then blending real world in Utherverse in a way that will create new and exciting opportunities for people to be able to take it to that next level and move things forward. And of course, a lot of different projects. You're going to start seeing over the next few weeks, guys, probably a dozen, 2 dozen partnerships and opportunities that people are already starting to see that they're going to start building in here, from a token project I believe you're hearing from tomorrow, to Ripples doing some stuff in there, to you're going to, I think, hear from Pixie tomorrow. She's on the panel, I think, with the ladies. We've got all kinds of people that are going to begin to build out what they're doing. But here's what I want to show you guys. Let's look at some of the advantages of the metaverse. So I was interested because, we're building with MetaForge, a digital convention center where you can buy a 10 by 10 through an NFT, and then we'll have a company that will go out and find conventions and rent them out, and you get a portion of the rental revenue. And so you'll be able to make money and be a digital landlord in the metaverse, right? And we believe we're going to try to become the #1 convention center because we're early adopters. early developers, creative technology, partnership with Utherverse. We're going to be the convention center where people are going to want to have conventions because that's where the traffic is going to be in the technology. So I went and said, you know what? Brian has mentioned about the benefits to the environment of this. So I said, you know what? Let's go look. According to Cornell University study, conventions and meetings can generate a significant amount of greenhouse gas emissions. One study found that each participant at a convention can produce up to 6,600 pounds of carbon dioxide equivalent. Think about the conventions that have 100,000 people going to them, 10,000 people going to them. There are over 2.9 million live convention events a year. I'm not saying we can bring that, and I'm not saying it's an either or some game. There will still be live conventions, but digital conventions in the metaverse can begin to balance that out some. And we believe there's a huge, huge opportunity there, especially once people start to realize that, and why is it this many pounds? It's you're eating out at restaurants, the lighting, your hotel stay, your airfare, all of the things that we do throughout there that we don't really think about, all the things that cost an absolute fortune. So we believe we're going to be able to deliver. Of course, we are in a convention in the metaverse right now. And this has been fantastic. This is my first convention in the metaverse. I'm enjoying it. It's way better. I've been to a convention on Web 2, wasn't impressed. In a convention in the metaverse, I'm impressed. But here's the key. This technology has just begun. Today, when the software, there'll be an update in Utherverse.io later on this afternoon, after this is all over with. That is going to bring it to the next level. And then again in October and November. And so just like we're sitting there in 1998 and everybody's on dial-up and it takes 10 minutes to load a page and there's no way you could ever watch a movie on the internet. Today, we have high speed. There's no dial-up. All that stuff is gone. The technology. So we are now, I believe, in the part where technology was growing. I believe we're getting ready to hockey stick with the technology in metaverse over the next few years. And that is going to allow for the experiences in conventions to become more and closer to actually feeling like you're there at the convention. And when it gets to that point, I believe at least 50, maybe 75% of the people that attend conventions will do it virtually instead of physically. And the reason why they will do it virtually is because it will be less expensive, less intrusive. It will be better for the environment. It will be an entire experience that will lead them to just the same reason why we all decided to use the web. I want you to think about this. Were there any of you guys there? And when I first saw the web, I was pretty open to it. But a lot of people that I know, my in-laws and my mom, and they were very hesitant to engage in the web. Oh, people steal your credit cards. It's only for, people to do negative things, right? It's not a good place. But guess what? Over time, the convenience factor, the value that was created for them. As a matter of fact, my father-in-law said, I'll never be on Facebook. Guess what? He's on Facebook, right? So we say a lot of nevers. The same thing is going to happen in the metaverse. And guess what? We are perfect timing. From today forward is that gap where down, interest, technology, we're going to take off like crazy. One of the things that led to the bubble pop was the overexcitement, but that was about the time high speed started to come out and people started to upgrade to high speed internet. And that allowed it to continue to flourish, continue to move in the right direction. Web 2 was created and people were able to start becoming influencers and make money off of it. And things like Amazon opened up where you could, start a business on there, and things like eBay and all of those. Guess what, guys? That is all going to begin to move from Web 2 to Web 3. This is our opportunity time. So Anna, I'm going to open it up to some questions maybe, or some comments from people. Hopefully you guys found this valuable and, trying to decide. I mean, there's a lot of things in life, right, to grab your attention. Matter of fact, if you go out there right now, there's 1,000 people promoting to get involved in AI and start some AI thing. But really, I believe that the real opportunity is the metaverse, right? The next version, Web 3. And again, metaverse is the core. If you're doing anything in Web 3, let's say you're into crypto, let's say you're into decentralized social media for the fact that you are for free speech and you don't want to be monitored. Maybe it's the comic books from Lightning Works. Maybe it's other forms, other things that you're doing in Web 3. If that's the case, then the metaverse is the core of that, and it's all going to revolve and be built along with those technologies and with those opportunities. And Utherverse is going to be the king of the entire space.
100%, 100%. Some of the comments that were coming through with the question that you posed is, why are people here? And a lot of people are saying community from all of the different channels. They're saying community is what brought them here. Community is what makes them stay. So community is a very big one.
And I got to tell you, the web took community to another because of anonymousness and all that stuff, right? Now there's still the anonymity inside a virtual environment, but I believe if I'm an avatar and I'm anonymous, I'm going to be better than that. And of course, Utherverse has built the way for the community to say, not the company, but the community to decide whether somebody should not be here or be here and help set those rules. So now you have this community driven thing. And again, you guys know, I believe in community. Community is commerce. It is our future. It is what's going to, I believe, lead us into the next, not 5, 10, 20 years, but the next few hundred years of human evolution, right? Throughout this whole process is going to be the fact that we're going to understand that if we come together, if we don't look at our differences and we look at what we have in similarities and we come together and we work with each other, we can improve each other's lives. We can make things better for everyone around us.
100%. I've had other people mentioning as well about making Raise, which was the original virtual currency of Utherverse Classic. And a couple other sort of questions that kind of come in that space. You touched upon Metaforge and a few other things when you were talking. Could you speak a little bit more about maybe the token, what's going on, maybe coming up, maybe a little,
absolutely,
and and what people can look forward to in terms of how they can make money? Because I know that that's one of the reasons that someone said in the chat is why they were first attracted to becoming in the metaverse was to make money, literally.
Yeah, so you guys know that Brian was one of the early adopters to pioneer an internal token, which is Raise, right? All the people that are in here. One of the things is, though, it's an internal token that operates within Utherverse, right? Now what's happened because of Web3, because of the blockchain technologies, there's become another level of that, which is decentralized blockchains, right? The ability for a token to work with inside Utherverse.io, right? The Xeon browser. And as well, I can take it out of there, bring it into a public marketplace, and that public marketplace can drive up and down that token, and it can be accepted and used outside eventually the metaverse. So I own UTHEX token. I'm using it. I'm earning it inside Utherverse.io. I'm within the Xeon browser. I'm getting tips. I'm building furniture. I'm running events. I'm a wedding coordinator, right? And I'm putting that together, or maybe I'm officiating the wedding and I'm getting some UTHEX token for that. I don't have to cash that out or do that inside the metaverse. I can actually take it out. At that point, it's wrapped UTHEX. I can bring it out into the real world as UTHEX, and then I can use that maybe to purchase something. So eventually there'll be people that will be taking, because of the way Web3 is moving forward with being able to have converting different tokens and stuff. There's an open marketplace with liquidity behind it. And so I would be able to go take that and say, I want to buy a new car. I've generated, let's say, $50,000 worth of UTHEX tokens inside the metaverse. I don't have to sell those and cash those out to fiat. I can take those out into the marketplace, sell them there, turn them into some type of stable coin if I want to, and then go buy my car. Or eventually, as the token rises and becomes a more dominant one, most of the top 10 tokens that are out there, maybe even the top 20, you can actually, there's people that will accept those as commerce. So you don't even need to transfer out. You can utilize those in and outside. So it just takes Raise and it takes it to that next level that would allow it to possibly someday you walk into a, you know, a 7-Eleven or a Circle K. And again, I'm looking towards the future, and you whip out your digital wallet and you pay with your UTHEX tokens for whatever that item is. And think about this, guys. You earned your UTHEX tokens for doing this. And let's say you sold a digital item for $1 and you sold 10,000 of them and you made 10,000 UTHEX tokens because it's in an open marketplace and demand, and that it goes from being worth the dollar that you sold it at, because the price of UTHEX can continue to rise up, right? Rise up, right? Now maybe that dollar's worth 12 or 15 or 20 or 30 or 40 or $50, right? The value of it that it can do. So that dollar you sold that digital item for now can generate $50 worth of value in your life because you held on to it. We'll have staking. You'll be able to take your UTHEX tokens, stake them, and earn an APY on them, right? So you'll be able to earn anywhere from 6 to 20% a year in these tokens that have the possibility and the ability to rise as soon as it gets up and running. The other side of it is we've put together what's called the NUSAR, which is the New User Strategic Reserve. So as new users come in and you're inviting people in at a point of hitting 25 million users, active users, 150 million of the UTHEX tokens will be airdropped to people that participated, people that bought things, people that sold things, people that bought. So at that point, who knows what that value is? It could be tens of millions. It could be hundreds of millions. It could be billions of dollars in value, because we have 25 million users. Think about the value of where UTHEX could be with 25 million people using it on a monthly basis, right? That could be an absolute windfall. That was when I was talking about the participatory economy, being able to, you participate, you earn UTHEX, then you also position yourself for the NUSAR airdrop. You've staked your tokens, you're getting an APY in UTHEX token, which means that I earn $1 in UTHEX, it 10x's. I still have that. Now I have 10 times that value. All of this is what's going to help drive this. That is where I believe that the real opportunity lies, is in the fact that we figured out a way to not just be a closed system, but open it up to the world and be able to take the token to that next level because of Web3. That's where I talk about Metaverse is the core, and then you have Web3, and that's where it's going to function best, because I can have the most opportunity, the most usage of my UTHEX will be within the Metaverse, but it will also work outside of that in the whole rest of Web3.
Fantastic. We have just a little time left. I'm giving you a little more time, Peter, because you're so awesome. I'm going to end with this last question here, and it's a great question. I really like this one. If you had a single wish for what is to come for Web3, what would it be?
That we, as people, really engage with Utherverse, because it's set up as a DAO, and we're able to take it fully decentralized, and we build millions of metaverses that all work together to create opportunity. Remember, in the beginning, Anna read that 9 years ago, I said, you know what? I want to leave this world better than when I got here. So when I grew up, I learned that if you stayed at somebody's house, you cleaned up after yourself. If you borrowed somebody's car, you cleaned it, you filled it with gas. If you go somewhere and there's trash on the ground, you're at the park, pick up a few pieces of trash, put yours in the garbage, leave it better than when you got there. And that's what I've lived my life by. And now I said, let's do that in business. I believe that if I had my ultimate dream, we would build Utherverse into millions of metaverses with people waking up every day and said, you know what? I'm going to go online and I'm going to go leave this place better by saying hello to somebody taking somebody who's lonely and establishing a relationship with them, helping people by doing commerce with them. I believe that this can be a mechanism for good in the world, and because of eventually the metaverse side of this becoming fully decentralized, we will be the ones that can determine that, make that happen. And I hope that we're creating that core group that then picks up that flag, right? I've got a whole bunch of other people that every day they go, let's go make this place better than when we got here, because I shared it with other people. And that's what I hope we can share through this and through Utherverse, is that we have millions of people waking up every day and saying, let's go leave this place better than when I got here. And then it becomes tens of millions, eventually hundreds of millions. We begin to focus on what we have in common and making what we have in differences the small part of things. And we accept people for that. And we end up leaving this place a better. And me and Brian have had these talks, guys. He is on the same page. This is just an incredible mission. And I want to thank you guys for being the early, for all of you people that were in Utherverse Classic. I thank you so much, because you gave Brian the ability and the vehicle to get us to where we can now meld Web3 of Metaverse into what we're doing. And it can help me achieve my goal of leaving this place better than when I got here.
And thank you, Peter, for closing out day one of VirtualCon and being our amazing guest, telling us all about how amazing the metaverse is and how amazing Utherverse is and will be. Highly appreciate it.
Thank you. You
What
did
a
a
great
fantastic job, Anna. Anytime from now on, if I ever need a host, you're it. I got it. If you're not available, I'm canceling the event.
That's so flattering. Thank you so much, Peter. And I hope to have you back very, very soon, regularly talking more. And we hope to have more conventions like this in the future.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody.
Just before you leave, really quickly, let people know how they can reach you, check your booth out. Let's just get that information out really fast before you go.
Yep, we have 2 booths set up, one for Metaforge and then the Xeon booth. So if you guys want to come by, Rhonda's in there, Global Gal. Mr. Kyle is in there. He's NSI trader on there. You guys are going to hear from him tomorrow on trading in there. So you can come by our booths and go there. If you want to connect with me, you can reach out to support at DFY. I don't remember it. Anna, we'll have to get that. You know what? I'm going to have Doug share with you guys. If you guys come on when Doug's on, Doug is going to tell you guys the best way to get a hold of me.
Or you can get a hold of me, Anna@utherverse.com, and I'll pass it over.
That is perfect there. So yeah. Oh, actually, you can probably send it to, what's the Utherverse one? So we're helping manage this support at Utherverse, right?
There's various ones, support at Utherverse and Xeon and so on and so forth. So
we'll figure it out. Anna you guys send it to Anna, she'll get it to me. I just so much appreciate being here, guys. And I got to tell you, I'm in love with virtual conventions. That's it. Awesome. Simple. We're going to do a lot of them.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Peter. Thank you. Thank you. And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes day one of the 8th annual VirtualCon. Don't worry. We still have a whole nother day coming up tomorrow. Full day of panels starting at 11 a.m. tomorrow. We have Film Factory Global, Reimagining Hollywood with Jonathan Willis. I'm really excited for that one, actually, to be honest with you. 12 p.m., as Peter was saying, we have Trading Cryptocurrencies with Doug Kyle. And then at 1 p.m., we have 1:30 p.m., we have a special presentation. We are going to be streaming a Twitter space or an X space that Brian is going to be a part of. So that one I'm very interested in listening to. We're going to be streaming that in and piping that in live into the metaverse and into the world. So that one's really cool. At 3 p.m., we're doing Using Web3 and NFTs for Charity with Paula Pixie. And then we're going to have our panel at 4 p.m., Women in Crypto with Dawn, Rhonda, Sharona, Lynette, Paula, and myself. And then finally at 5 p.m., we're going to have Decentralized Business and Node Ownership with Tony. And then also, for those of you who are in Classic, 3 p.m., Brian Shuster will be doing his Classic Utherverse keynote speech at that point as well, and he'll be going over a lot of different things. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, Thank you very much for a very successful day one of the 8th annual VirtualCon, and I will see you all tomorrow morning.